Hi there, we're back for another video. This video is inspired by my very beautiful Disney princess friend Adriana. We're gonna go over how to make your very own sourdough starter. She just started doing her own sourdough bread and I gave her some of my starter, but we're gonna go how to make your very own starter from scratch. So what I always make mine in, and you can do a glass jar or you can do a plastic one. I always do mine in a bowl and I always put a plate on top, and that's how I store mine, and that's how I've been storing it for like 3 years or longer. So for this purpose, I'm just gonna make it simple. We're gonna do it in here. So I have a mason jar and I have 1 cup of all-purpose white flour. That's all this is. For mine that I use on the daily, or not the daily, for mine that I use all the time, I use white flour and dark rye flour. That's my mixture, that's my combination. If I was doing like a cup of white, I would do half a cup of rye. But for this one, we're just gonna do plain Jane, keep it easy peasy. So we have the 1 cup there. And then I'm gonna throw in a half a cup of water. This is just tap water, nothing fancy. And it's room temperature. So I'm pretty sure if you are gonna feed it this much, you're gonna want maybe a bigger mason jar. Over time, this will grow. When you're first making it, it might not grow as much, but when you are really getting into it and making it, it's gonna grow. So you want a bigger one. So because this isn't like active yet, it's not like alive, I guess you could say, it is a bit more dry, so you want to make sure the consistency is a thick paste. Wowzer. Hello, flour. We might need a little bit more water. So you kind of want to like fool around with this to make sure you have the right consistency. So if you do a cup of flour, you can do anywhere from a half a cup to a full cup of water. But I'm trying to stick with exact measurements because I know people like exact measurements. Okay, so we're gonna throw a little bit more water in. BRB. It's just a little bit too thick right now and like very floury still. So I'm just gonna put in probably a 1/4 cup of water. So if we're keeping track, I'd say a cup of flour and 3/4 cup of water. And I think that's gonna be perfect. So it's very thick. Super duper thick. And then what you're gonna do for the next step is you're gonna take this and you're just gonna put a lid on top loosely for 24 hours. And we're not gonna do anything with it for 24 hours. So right now it is 4:35. So we're gonna come back tomorrow at 4:35 and we're gonna check on it again. So I'll show you the consistency. This is what it looks like in here, which is kind of hard to tell, but like when I take it out, it's like she thick. Yep, that's just glooby globby. And if you were doing it in a bowl, like how I do mine all the time, you can just place a plate on top. Or if you didn't have a mason jar or a plate that you want to use that's small enough, you can use a cloth and just put that on top, like a hand drying cloth or whatever. So I'm just simply keeping it on top. I'm not doing it up or anything. It's nice and loose. And I will see you in 24 hours to check out what it looks like. I should have said previously in the other video that this is like a 1 to 2 week process to get your sourdough starter started, working, going. You're checking after 24 hours. So yesterday I did it at 4:35 to be specific. And today we're at almost 5:30. So I'm an hour late, but that's totally okay. So it could look like nothing happened, or you could see a few bubbles. So like when I look in there, it smells like flour. I see like maybe 1 or 2 bubbles, nothing really, totally normal. That's what we're expected to see. So now I'm not taking anything out of here. I'm leaving it all in there. It's gonna get real full in there soon. So I'm adding half of a cup of flour today. Yesterday was 1, today is half a cup of flour. And you're gonna wanna do half the amount of water. So I'm doing a 1/4 cup of water and we're gonna stir that all in. She's getting pretty close to the top. Good thing it's not doubling or anything in size yet. So it's real thick again, real pasty. You might add a touch of water. We'll see once we get it incorporated a bit more with the water. Like that's some thick stuff. Looks nothing like my normal stuff looks like. I'm gonna throw in like a tablespoon of water, BRB. Okay, so I just did another tablespoon of water from the tap. It's still gonna be really hard to incorporate. It's just very like gluey, gummy. Just not very fluid yet. Sorry, I was like, my arm's up here trying to stir so you could see the cup and the cups below the camera. Not that you need to watch me stir. Okay, so it's still super gluey and gooby. That's what it looks like right now. Not much happening. So I'm going to just place the lid back on top and we're gonna check it again tomorrow. So in 24 hours, we'll come back and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. We might expect to see a couple bubbles or it might look like nothing again. See you tomorrow. Hello, we're back and it's day 3. So as you can see, as I walked in and just found out, we're getting a little bit active here. So it's already coming to life. So obviously it would have bubbled if it's overflowing when I didn't leave it that way. So this container was too small. So from now on, oh boy, we're going to throw out half, and you're going to be throwing out half every time so we don't get too much sourdough and so that we could keep this yeast healthy. So I'm gonna go throw half this in the garbage. You could stir it first if you had room. I don't, so I'm just gonna straight up throw it out. I know a couple of people who I work with who do sourdough now. They have a hard time throwing out their sourdough. I don't know the reason. I think maybe it feels wasteful. I don't know what it is, and I didn't ask, but it is good to keep your sourdough yeast healthy and stuff like that. So it's not horrible that you're throwing it out. And there's a lot of different things you can do if it's like, if you're worrying about wasting it. There's a lot of sourdough discard recipes out there too, and you can pretty much throw it in a lot of things. So I don't have quite half gone, so I'm gonna throw a little bit more. So it's very yummy and like thick. So now we're gonna put in, this is a disaster. We're gonna put in a half a cup of flour, and this is what we're gonna stick with for a little bit. So I'm just pouring the half cup in, and then you're gonna do anywhere from a 1/4 cup to a half a cup of water. And it has been pretty thick, so I think I'm probably gonna do almost a half cup of water, but let me grab it. So I'm just doing room temperature water, and it's a little bit less than half a cup. I can't really tell from there. And we're just gonna pour that right in. And this is definitely gonna overflow again, so I might switch the container. I just wanted to keep it kind of consistent for the video, just so you guys would have a better idea. And I gotta clean the outside of this in my hands. This is a hot mess express. So I think we're gonna need that full 1/4 cup of water, or sorry, half cup of water. I just topped it up with a little bit more water. So we did half a cup of flour, and we're gonna do half a cup of water. Do the full half cup. Or you feel it out for whatever yours is, but mine was still very floury. Here we go, Fallow and I are done. Freddie, don't climb me, I'm not a wall. So this is what it looks like. And it still smells pretty much like flour again today. So we're gonna leave it for another 24 hours. We're gonna come back in 24 hours from now, and I believe it is almost 5 o'clock, so it's like 4:45. So we're a little bit earlier than we were yesterday, but it's all good. I will see you tomorrow around this time. Sorry, so I'm just gonna take the spoon out, and I'm just gonna place this gently on top again, nothing tight. Okay, so we are back again, and we're doing the same thing we did yesterday. And you can see now, it smells actually really gross. You can see it's active in there. It's bubbly. I mean, it was yesterday too, because it overflowed for that reason. But now it doesn't smell like flour anymore. It smells, I don't know how to describe it other than, it just smells kind of gross. And I remember going through this when I started my sourdough. It was during COVID. Was that in 2020? And we're in 2026. So I remember doing this then. It's very like a smooth texture though when you like mix it. And I remember thinking something's wrong because it smells disgusting. And I remember gagging for multiple days. Hello. Like, I want to give you a good description of how it smells. Like, I want to say like socks almost. My socks don't smell. Maybe that wasn't a good description. And then like I think like dirty cheese or something, but I don't think that's it either. So I really can't describe it to you. So I threw a half, and now I'm going to put in a 1/4 cup of the plain Jane flour, and I'm probably going to do the whole entire 1/4 cup of water because it's proving to be fairly thick. So we're just gonna put that in. It's just, I've been using tap water. Now I'm just using filtered fridge water. You could do whatever. Just gonna give it a nice stir. And now it seems to be like a little bit of a better consistency, like not as like gummy and thick. It still is gummy and thick, but like just where maybe I wouldn't have had to do the whole amount of water, but it's still good because it's not too liquidy. So same thing again, we're gonna cover this bad boy up. And you wanna try to keep like it clean because it does get hard to clean because when it dries, it sticks on the real well. Just gonna take the lid again, place it on top, nothing fancy, leave it on the counter until tomorrow. And right now, I believe we're at 4:45. So it was around the same time as yesterday, but again, you have a lot of leeway. You're okay if you're an hour early, an hour late kind of thing. See you tomorrow. Perfect time to start. Thank you for the introduction. So we've run into a problem. It smells disgusting, first of all. If you look inside, you can well, maybe you can see from the outside, you can see there's kind of like a clear liquid on top here. And sometimes once it is like fully done, you will get it, but not this bad. It didn't rise at all. So maybe this is good. We're running into a problem for the video. So, sorry, it smells so gross. It just smells like really sour. I don't like the smell. Maybe it's not as bad to some other people. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to throw out half this. It's so liquidy. Okay, BRB, throw it out. So if you do run into a problem like this, and it was rising really great, it was doing amazing, I'm gonna take the half, I'm putting in a half a cup of flour, just all purpose again. And then I'm gonna take water and I'm gonna put in less than half a cup because that was so liquidy. I don't think that was the problem, but that's what I'm doing. So I put in a little less than half cup because it's so liquidy right now that like the liquid in here will make up for what I would normally put in for water. Ugh, so gross. So it's like thick components with runny components at this point. And when we're running into troubles like this, and for yourself as well, say like it's not really doubling, it's not being very active, you're not happy with it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start feeding it every 12 hours instead, which I'm not gonna be up at 4:30 a.m. Close, but not 4:30. So I'm gonna start doing this every 12 hours, a little sooner than I would be instead of the 24 hours. So we're gonna step it up a notch. So right now it's 4:30, we have it done. All I'm doing is plopping this lid back on, make sure everything's right on here, we're good. Yeah, well, we'll hope for the best and we'll find out tomorrow morning. I just have to remember tomorrow morning, we're on a different schedule now. So I'm gonna feed it tomorrow morning and then tomorrow night. So we'll be back tomorrow morning and we'll check it out. So we are back in action with our sourdough starter. It is way later than I wanted just because I kind of forgot I was doing it in the morning, even though I had a reminder in my phone. So it's 9:30 in the morning. I don't know why. I don't know. I keep smelling it. I need to stop doing that because I want to tell you when it starts to smell good. It smells like really sour and grody. And we have bubbles back. It's not separated liquid like it was yesterday. So we're back on track. We're good. We're gonna stir it. It's just the craziest texture. It's been so long since I've done this. We're gonna throw half in the garbage. And we're gonna do the same thing we did yesterday. So half a cup of flour, and I'm just doing the all-purpose white flour. And then we're gonna do probably half a cup of water. It seems like it's back to like kind of where it was last time. So I think half a cup of water would be good. Put it right in there, grab the water, just doing tap water again. We're just gonna pour in most of it, but not all of it. I just want to see what that looks like first. Just kidding. No, I am doing it now. Not kidding after all. Oh, it already smells better when you add a little flour to it. That is just such a pungent smell. Okay, so this is good. We didn't need the full half of a cup of water today. The texture is good. Sometimes when I do it, I feel like there's like pockets of flour still. So it's really thick. All I'm gonna do is the same thing I've been doing. Just gonna put the lid on, we're gonna plop it, and then I'm gonna do this again tonight. And I will set a timer on my phone so I remember to do it again tonight. And then if that goes well, I might go back to the 24 hours. I didn't use the full half cup of water, so you can see how much is left in there. Maybe you can see there's a good amount. Maybe a fourth of it's left in there. So we're back and it's super duper early. I think it's like before 5. And I know I said to feed your starter every 12 hours for now. Well, unless yours is still going well, then you're doing every 24 hours, but mine was not going well. But I go to bed really early. I met this girl, I think only 5 times now. And she already knows so well that I go to bed early. She said, can we do an appointment at 6 o'clock? I know that's cutting close to your bedtime. So she already knows. I like my sleep. I like my hours. So we're gonna take this, don't smell it, and we're gonna mix it together. Eventually it will smell good. It's already mixed. Like it had a couple bubbles for me on top already. We're gonna throw half. You know the drill by now. We're throwing at half. Oops, that was a little bit more than half. I can't undo that though, it's in the garbage. All right, so we're gonna need a half cup measurement. Oh boy. Got my broken cup, so we'll just use that. Same thing as always, just our all-purpose white flour. I feel like I need some like good pourry cups to fit in here. Is that a word, pourry cups? It is now. Okay, try to get all that flour in there. And we're gonna do half, probably less than half a cup of water. Again, you know the drill, it's just room temperature water. You can use filtered water. It's just tap water. So I didn't do quite the whole half cup yet. And we're gonna give this a stir until all the flour is incorporated and gone. I know I said this last time, but like just the fresh flour in there just changes the scent completely. It's so much nicer. Has anybody ever made kombucha? Because I remember too doing that. Sometimes the smell would be weird. And then I got freaked out by the whole thing, so I stopped. But it went on for a couple years. I had fun with it. So we got a little chunky, but it's like no dry flour. It looks moist enough. People don't like that word. Sorry, people. And that's it. So we're just gonna do the normal. We're gonna put the lid on, and I'm gonna leave this till tomorrow afternoon after work, which I might be home a little bit late from work. So we'll check back in tomorrow and we'll see how it, oh Jesus, see how it looks. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow at some point. Hi there, so it's actually 5:54. I got home later than I wanted to, but that's okay. So we're gonna check the sourdough starter out. Oh my gosh, stop smelling it. So it's bubbly. It looks good. It wasn't like the one day it was crazy when it was, yeah. Anyway, we're back on track. I do believe so. It looks nice and smooth. It looks really good, actually. Doesn't smell ready yet, but it also hasn't been a week or two. So I'm gonna go throw half of this out. We're gonna do half a cup of flour per use, just the white flour. And then I'm gonna go get some water. And when we first started, I definitely needed the full amount of water, but like just because I think it's just coming together now, we don't need the full amount. So this is a whole half cup. I'm gonna pour in over half of it. And I'm just gonna mix. And you can judge yourself. As long as all the powder, AKA flour, is mixed in, you're good to go. You don't want it too liquidy, but you also don't want it too dry. I mean, you're not gonna mess it up if you do have it a little bit too liquidy or too dry. And if it's too liquidy, just throw a little bit more flour in there. So it does have chunks in it right now. I keep facing it towards myself. I don't know if you can tell, but there are noticeable chunks even after stirring it. Yeah, you can see the chunks there, but that's fine because that's how it was the other days too. You just give your stir as best you can. And then same as always, we're just gonna take this. Oopsie daisies. So like, yeah, I probably used about a quarter cup of water this time. And we're just gonna place this on top, set it on the counter. See you tomorrow. Hello, so we're back and it is 5:44. It's the same thing. It is bubbly on top. It's not like double in size, but it is growing a bit. It still has a smell to it, so we're gonna throw out half of it. And this container is getting mighty messy and it's gonna be like impossible to get all that dried stuff off. So probably gonna end up throwing it out in the end. And we're gonna do half of a cup of flour, and then I'll get some tap water. And then I'm going to start with half the amount of half the cup of water. Although this is getting really, real full. Just stir it together till it's nice and smooth. Okay, that's a little bit dry. So I might throw a little bit in there, just a little splashy. Probably have like a bit over a tablespoon left in that cup right now of water. Okay, perfect. It is smooth, a little chunky still, but I mean, otherwise it's like a smooth liquidy-er texture, not dry. I don't know, not good at the descriptive words. We're just gonna put the lid on and set it aside until tomorrow again. Back again for another day. So here it is. Didn't really grow. There are bubbles. Okay. Throwing half out. So, like it's stirring nicer. I don't know how to explain it until like you do it. Once you do it, you'll see like the texture completely starts to change. Still smells atrocious, but like it's so much smoother now and it's not as thick. So this is just dried up sourdough all along the sides, but I'm gonna dump out half of the garbage. Oh God. Enough to make you want to gag. And now I'm gonna grab half a cup of water. My stand is upstairs and clearly I'm this lazy that I'm not going to get it. Half a cup of flour. Did I just say water? It's been a long night. And by night, I think it's only 7 p.m. But if you know me, it's basically my bedtime in a half an hour. I'm gonna put in half the half cup, so a quarter to start with. We're gonna stir it up. Definitely need more. Put in more. So I'd say I put in another half of what was left. Ooh, hello. Nice. So, it smells so much better. I say this every time. Has the chunks in it still. Like it's smooth with no dry patches, but it has the chunks as I'm spilling it everywhere. We're just gonna place the lid on top and let it sit overnight. See you tomorrow. Hello, back again. Day, I have no idea what day it is, but we're gonna do the same thing. It smells horrible still, but it's actually getting a little bit better. It's like tangy. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know when it smells like your jowls get like watery because you're just, it's too much information. I'm gonna throw half out. So it's a way smoother texture today too. It's getting better. We're gonna throw in, so we're gonna do our half a cup of flour. And then, woo, I'm gonna go grab half a cup of water and not use it all. So I'm probably gonna put in a little bit over half of the half. Give it a nice stir. Still can't believe when I first started out with that huge rise, like after the second day. Huh, it was interesting. Okay, so we got it mixed up there. Probably have like 2 tablespoons of water left in the water, in the cup measure. Yeah. Same thing as usual, a little bit chunky, but it's all mixed in there. Put the lid on and leave it. Ah, I just poured flour all over my sweater. That's okay. Lid on, and I'll see you again tomorrow. If you're wondering about time, it's earlier today, so I did that for almost 45. I totally lost track of what day we're on at this point. No idea. Same thing as always. We're just gonna open this guy up. It's getting a little crusty. Yeah, very crusty. Okay, it's smelling way better. Like I could smell it without feeling like I want to vom. It grew, it has bubbles. I'm gonna give it a little stir. Oh, it just feels so much better texture-wise, easier to stir, not as like sticky. Nice. So we're gonna throw half this out and feed it. Oh, I really should have kept track. So today is actually the first day where this doesn't smell disgusting to me. So I'm not sure if it's ready, and I don't even know how many days we've been doing this for at this point. We did have that little hiccup where it wasn't going well. So same thing as always, we're gonna feed it its flour, we're gonna feed it its water. Just doing the white flour, just doing the water. You can do the measurements just because I've been doing it for a while, and also maybe at this point you even know, like texture wise, once you get enough water and whatnot. So I'm just mixing it, and then we're gonna throw the lid on top and leave it till tomorrow. Hello, back again. You know the drill. Ooh. It looks even better. Okay, so like it's super bubbly. It almost looks like how I would expect my sourdough starter to look when it's ready. Almost. I feel like when I stir it, the texture's not totally there. Almost smells like my sourdough starter too. It doesn't smell bad at all anymore. I'm gonna throw this out. Even as I'm stirring it, I don't know if you can see, like the bubbles are just popping. Horrible angle. But it's very, very, very active. It's looking good. They're popping all over the place. So I threw half in the garbage. Now we're gonna add the flour and the water. I'm gonna give it a stir until it's all nice and mixed together. It's a little more liquidy than I would like, so I'm gonna add a touch more flour in. Could have done less water this time. Cool, I'd say maybe this is gonna be ready tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely the day after. Sweet, so it's all mixed up. And I'm just gonna do the same old same. Cover it up and put it on the counter, and I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe it'll be the day. I believe tomorrow will definitely be the last day. It actually probably could be done today. You can tell it overflowed. It was all over the counter, but I cleaned up the counter. So it's like super active. Right now it looks pretty runny just because it's been sitting all day, and it's actually been very warm. So I'm just gonna stir it, throw half out, and feed it again. But tomorrow will be the day, and I'm gonna say it's all done at that point. This is a 7 to 2 week process, so it should be done. I don't know, once you like see it overflowing, doubling in size, like the second day I did it where it was overflowing everywhere and it was such a big rise, that definitely means it's done. But it was only day 2, so I know it wasn't done, and you didn't go through the process of it smelling disgusting and then smelling like normal. So once you go through that process of, give it at least 7 days, and then after the 7 days, see how it's like, if it's growing, if it's doubling. Definitely gonna throw this container out after. This stuff gets like really dried and caked on, so we're just gonna put the lid on, set it aside, and I'll check it out tomorrow. Okay, here we are. And this is our last time doing this. Well, I'm not doing it again, so that was our last time yesterday. We're done. So what you're gonna wanna see to know it's done is that it consistently doubles or triples in size 4 to 6 hours after feeding it. So when you're waiting the 24 hours, it is hard to tell unless you can tell from the mess it left or unless you're around to see. So also if you see inside of this, let me tilt you right down, you can see how bubbly that is. So you want it to be bubbly and airy, and then you'll know too, that's another sign that it's done. And then another sign that it's done is the scent. So when it was smelling like dirty socks or like that gross smell, it's definitely not ready. But then when it has a more pleasant aroma, could be almost like a yogurt, but not really. It's just more pleasant, and it's not like a punch you in the face scent. That's another sign it's ready. And then there is also something else you can do, which is a float test. And it's never worked for me because my sourdough starter that I've had since 2020 That one, it doesn't do it still, so maybe I'm not getting it at the right time. But the other thing is you get a glass of water and you take a scoop and you put it in there, and then it's like a sign there's enough gases in there that it would float. The little spoonful of sourdough would float in your cup instead of sink. But like I said, I've tried it with this, and I've tried it with my one that I've already had active for like, what year are we in? 6 years, and it doesn't do that. So maybe I'm not catching it at the right time, but that's not an indicator for me. So, I mean, if you're doing it for 2 weeks, you should be good to go as long as it has the bubbles and it doesn't smell weird. Freddie, you're not stuck. Okay, so your sourdough starter is done. Next, you're gonna wanna figure out how you're gonna store it. So I would not keep mine in a mason jar just because this is way too small for me. I store mine, like I've shown in all my videos, this is how I always do it. I do a bowl with a plate on top. They have like specific things for sourdough that you could buy online. Whatever works best for you. I like the bowl and plate method. That's what I've done pretty much since the beginning. I find it like less messy. I find it easier to get stuff in. It's not like too small of a hole. Once it's done, you're either gonna wanna keep it in the fridge or on the counter. So if you're ready to use it in the next day or two, I would say keep it on the counter. But if it is on the counter, you're gonna wanna feed it every day. So just a little small feed. I've done it before where I forgot, so I've done it the second day. It's just gonna be like really liquidy, almost like sometimes it has a separation of like just like a clear liquid on top. That's fine. I always just mix it up, throw out half, and then you're gonna do a little feeding, and then you could store it on the counter. And if you're not gonna use it, because I make bread about once a week, I'll put it in the fridge for a week. And I do feed it before I put it in the fridge. When I take it out of the fridge, I let it sit for a day, and then I feed it at nighttime. And then usually it's good to go by the next day. Sometimes I might have to do it another time, but usually it's always good. But I find when I have in the past taken it out of the fridge and then tried to use it that night, it didn't work so well. So the rise wasn't as good, the yeast wasn't as active, so you wanna give it a little bit of time. I'm trying to think of what else there is to say. I've moved a couple times. So when I moved across the country, I didn't take my sourdough starter with me because it was like a 3-day drive. Well, I did take it with me, but just not in the container. So what I did, and I could do a video on it, it's not that hard. So you're gonna take a parchment or what's that called? A baking sheet, and lay parchment paper across. You take your sourdough starter and you lay that across in a thin sheet. And then you lay it out to dry. Sometimes, like you want it completely dry. Sometimes it might take 24 hours, so it might take a little longer. But if it's a thin sheet of sourdough starter, it shouldn't take too long. And then what I do is I put it in a clean mason jar and I store it in there. Or when I got to my destination, I just added water slowly. Then it came back to life, and that took maybe like 3 or 4 days for it to come back to life, and then it was good to go. And then you still have your original sourdough starter that you've been working on for years instead of starting over new and also going through the stinky process. Woo! This is so not a part of the video, but I just had some loaves that are done. There's a chocolate chip one, so yummy. And then we got our plain Jane white, so much fun. Okay, back on topic. The only other thing I could really think of is your sourdough starter and what you want to make it with. I've given it to other people. They're not sticking with the white and the dark rye. They just want like all white. It's just easier, and sometimes people find it tastes better. So when you're transitioning, you can just honestly go straight up with the white. So instead of doing a little bit of dark rye and white, you just do the white. And if you wanted to transition and start adding a little dark rye into yours, you just add your white, and then maybe just like start off a little bit at a time of dark rye, just so that your yeast can get used to it. And then you could figure out your own measurements of what you want to feed it with. But I do personally love the dark rye and white mixture. I think that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.